You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 95. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Black Jeff Barnhart. Don't hate me because I'm an owl hoot.
Oh boy. Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out our show and plus plenty of other cool podcasts and columns and comic book reviews at at rhymeswithgeek.com.
You imply that we are a cast?
Yes.
Okay.
Look, even if we're legends in our own minds, come on.
Okay.
I try to be positive.
It's
hard. Oh, I know. So we got to, obviously we have comic books to talk about, but there were some news items this week. Did you want to get into that?
Oh, I'm really not sure. What can you say about female version of Thor and the new Captain America?
Well,
I'm irritated. Well, the thing is, it just stunts. It'd be different if someone had a plot in mind, but no, it's just a publicity stunt, and it's getting old.
I mean, there are plots, but people get all bent out of shape about it. It's like as if they forget this is probably only gonna last 6 months to a year.
Exactly.
So why get it all bent out of shape? And why must everything be the same all the time? Why can't we have a story where something changes and then we go back? Of course, we go back to the status quo, but
it's just a stunt, and it's nothing. If they did not think it would make publicity, they would not do it.
Let me give you this food for thought, okay? However you feel about these stunts, and I don't care, it doesn't matter. Thor's been a woman before. He's been a frog, okay?
Yep.
And Sam Wilson, I think if you're going to have somebody replace Steve Rogers temporarily, why not have his longtime partner be Captain America?
You barely hear about that. It's the Thor that's really gotten the word.
I'll get bent out of shape if the next Doctor Who is a woman, but I don't care that Thor is, because they've done it before, and it's not a big deal. He'll come back, and
let's not even talk about Beta Ray Bill,
who I like.
Who I do too.
Yeah,
but that was bizarre. I was shocked when I saw.
Yeah, this weird horse person thing, but is imbued with the power of Thor. He's a great hero. But yeah, I mean, that was during Walt Simonson's classic run in the 80s. It's, I mean, other than Kirby's run, that's like the most celebrated run on Thor. So, yeah. But the thing is, these events, whether we like them or hate them, they serve to stir up publicity. They get people's butts in the comic book store and buying comic books, which helps the industry keep it alive. Because comic books are technically a loss leader. They exist to renew the copyright for things that they get licensing and merchandising and all this other stuff for. It's all about selling bath towels, not really selling comic books.
Yeah, you're probably right. I just wish they didn't do it. But if it keeps them alive, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if even in the old distribution model of newsstands, it was still kind of a lost thing. I've been doing a lot of research and reading, and it's like as far as back as the late Silver Age, the traditional comic book model of, we're selling it and we're making profits on the books themselves, like high-end, they've been a loss leader since like the late 60s.
The only problem with this is that it's going to get old, and how are you going to shock them again? I mean,
all right, and
it's already killing a character is already ho-hum.
But here's the irony, okay? Because people want the people who complain about these things, they want things to be static. They don't want things to change. And then there are guys who are like me who are like, well, make the change. We already have all those stories. Why can't we advance? And they get frustrated because these things don't stick. I loved this. I thought the Doc Ock in the mind of Peter Parker was an awesome story. I thought that was great. It was the best thing they've done to Spider-Man in a long time, and it's too bad that they only did it for a year.
I did not read that. It sounds intriguing.
I haven't read the whole run, but I've read a nice smattering of issues, and it's cool.
Usually change though is bad. Superman no longer newspaper reporter. He works at WGBS. Bad.
Yes.
And I'm usually not happy with it.
But a different
for change's sake is not good. They have a good reason, a really good reason, and a vision to what to do with it. I'll accept it. But I'm not offended.
Let me give a couple of quality examples of change and advancements in characters. Okay. The Green Lanterns. Okay. Hal Jordan, no longer Green Lantern, and then there's several guys that come in his wake, and these are cool characters. I mean, I'm saying in the past. Of course, he's Green Lantern now, but or when in Crisis on Infinite Earths, when what are you laughing at?
Oh, now he's changed back. I mean, it wasn't really a change.
But it was lasting, okay, and it was something they went with for years. But in Crisis on Infinite Earths, when Barry Allen died to save the universe, the multiverse, but and then Wally West, the Kid Flash, became the Flash. Hey, cool. This is a good transition.
I didn't mind that part, but a lot of the other Crisis, I did not like the changes they made, and I don't know. It's just
And the original Crisis, they were fixing a problem that wasn't really a problem. The multiverse was fun, and it wasn't that hard to keep track of, and it made sense.
Right.
In the post-Crisis DC universe, things were a mess.
Yeah.
They created problems rather than fixed them. And then they kind of undid some of them in, I think, 1994 with 0 Hour, which was cool.
Which I think I read.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And that kind of brought back some of those things and made more sense. But in the reboots that DC has done since, it's just not too happening, especially the New 52. But but it's so funny, the story that is the lead into the reboot, as in the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's a great story, but what followed stunk. The storyline that led to the New 52, Flashpoint, was great, but then the New 52 is pretty ho-hum at best. So, but anyway, that's enough complaining about current comics. Let's talk about some oldies.
Yeah, we're complaining about the old ones.
All right. So our first book we've got to talk about is the Rawhide Kid number 92. And the lead story is called The Frightened Gun. Written and drawn by Larry Lieber and inked by John Tartaglione. Now, I thought this was a great story.
Not bad.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. This is one of the best westerns we read.
Rawhide Kid is one of those characters you don't want to come into town because bad things happen to him. He's just riding along, all of a sudden gunshots. And then you find a pretty blonde lady. Are there any other kind in Western comics but they're pretty blonde
or redheads?
Yeah, redheads.
Yeah,
we
I think
see
Cinnamon
brunette,
from DC
but
Comics.
It's kind of later on.
Yeah.
Well, they're being chased by Indians, and Rawhide Kid comes and saves her.
Yeah,
nice knife fight. That is the palest looking redskin I ever did see.
Yeah, well. It's like a movie redhead or movie Indian where it's really an Italian,
Right. So her father is a sheriff, and he's a coward, and the townspeople know that Rawhide Kid is wanted, but the cowardly sheriff's not going to do anything.
Right. Or he's lost his guts because he's getting older.
Yeah, he was not a coward before, but now he's old and scary.
He doesn't have anything to fall back on. He's got nothing to take care of his daughter if something happens to him. He's got no savings. This is all he's got.
Right.
So
that's a nice look at old line. I mean, it's food for thought for teenagers.
Sure.
Yeah. So what's going on? There's some bad guys coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he finally, let's see. He does some bad guys come up. Rawhide Kid shoots him. The guy, the sheriff doesn't do anything. Finally, he gets his courage up and shoots some people. We get a big reward, and then Rawhide Kid lets the sheriff have the reward so they can retire or do something else.
Right, and that's pretty cool. But see, the Rawhide Kid came to the aid and was doing the sheriff's job. These bad men came into town and were causing problems, and they weren't going to take no for an answer. And Rawhide got wounded.
Right.
And the sheriff was like, "Look, I can't let this guy die for me." So he comes in and saves him, and I thought that was great.
Yeah. Not bad. You're right. Rawhide Kid does look like Johnny Storm.
Did I say that?
Yeah, I think you did.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I mean, he looks like his outfit does look like a superhero's outfit, but
westernized. Kind of. Yeah, it's got like the line of dots like Thor's costume. But they're big buttons or something.
Actually, what the devil are they?
I don't know.
Big dots or buttons or I don't know.
Yeah.
Does it deflect bullets?
Probably not.
Oh.
So the backup story, or one of the backup stories, is called "At the Mercy of Wolf Waco," reprinted from Rawhide Kid Number 18, and it's written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, and inked by Dick Ayers.
Cool splash page.
Yeah.
Stan Lee is on the marquee. That's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Rawhide Kid is in the middle of a town. They're all going after him. And the thing is, you can just look at each character, and here's a dog barking, and a guy shouting and pointing, and a guy pointing at Derringer.
It's a huge hubbub, and so it's...
Yeah, and every character is interesting to look at.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
And Kirby would do this, when like in the giant monster stuff, when a monster shows up, you see the people scattering, and everyone's got their own kind of reactions to the situation. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yeah. So
and immediately a gunfight starts.
Yeah, and ends because it's Rawhide Kid.
Yeah.
Oh. So it's Wolf Waco.
Yeah.
He's he looks like Black Jack Shellac from the Bugs Bunny cartoon.
I'm not sure if I recall this character.
He's trying to dam a river, and Bugs Bunny's ticked off because it's messing up the shower. It's hilarious, and it's only French Canadian villain in the Bugs Bunny canon. But I don't know, so.
I think I may just not have seen that one.
I think you are sadly deprived because it was good.
Sorry.
All right, so Wolf Waco fights him, and then his gang comes up, and he gets Rawhide Kid to join him. So they're going to rob a train, which must be really hard. I wonder.
Robbing a train?
Yeah. Not just moving. Trains are so super heavy, and it almost makes me ill to think how much pressure is on the rail.
Yeah. And so they want Rawhide to prove he's with them by dynamiting the train.
Yeah. And their purple sticks of dynamite that makes they're much stronger. No.
Oh
yeah,
man.
Someone's lighting the dynamite. He's just sitting there cool and calm. It's just, I failed a hand grenade.
Okay.
And a real one.
Yeah.
And I was, yikes.
Because this is going to explode in, 10 seconds or less?
Well, I pulled. I mean, even before I pulled the pin, here's all this death,
right?
And dismemberment. And this little, that's not that little, it's about a pound. It's kind of heavy. You don't throw them like baseballs, you heave them.
Overhand. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Did you know that, of course?
Well, yeah, because you want them to gain altitude and longitude.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So, yeah. So, to prove that he's part of the gang, he's got to go blow up the thing. Yeah. So, what he does is throws it right back at the gang, and it blows up, and then he goes into the
You would think that would have killed them right there.
Probably not far enough.
Okay.
So he goes in there, talks to the guys, and with some little bit of fisticuffs, convinces him that he's on their side. That's the problem with the outlaw is
he always has to convince the good guys that he's one of the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's like I don't know.
It can be confusing or it's stopping the action or something, or maybe it causes more action.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what I think about it.
I don't know, but it's kind of like when Spider-Man. It's like, when he would be like trying to stop a supervillain and elude the police.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So he helps the guys, and they start shooting at the bad guys. Westerners are usually fairly simple,
Yeah.
A bunch of shooting. So, and the Waco's, Wolf Waco's. I love
Can
that
you
name.
compose yourself?
No,
Please. Wolf Waco and Rawhide Kid are duking out on the cliff's edge.
Yeah, because his gang ran away.
Right. And Waco loses his footing, and Rawhide tries to save him, but Waco falls to his death.
I wonder how often that happens.
I don't know.
In real life. It happens all the time in Hollywood, so it must happen all the time. You just don't hear about it.
Like, I would think I wouldn't want to start a fight with somebody on a cliff's edge. Unless I was sure I was going to beat them. But
unless I was behind him and push.
Right?
That's about it.
But it's a good way to dispose of a villain. It's dramatic. Mm-hmm. I know it's a Hollywood cliche, but in a comic book, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, Rawhide Kid.
Movies do it all the time. It shows the hero is actually a hero, and which is cool. In the Star Trek 3, Kirk kicks the bad guy off the cliff.
Yeah, into the lava.
I'm tired of you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Another great Kirby splash page.
Yeah. Let me get the credits on this one. It's A Legend is Born, also reprinted from Rawhide Kid number 18, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Dick Ayers.
All that's happening is Rawhide Kid's getting food, but I don't know, it seems dramatic and full of tension.
He's trying to kind of hide who he is and just hoping to get a meal and head out, but people come on messing with him.
Dang it. Oh. And they're talking about him and what a bad guy is.
But they're telling like all these tall tales about the Rawhide Kid. They don't know that he's like 5 foot something.
Yeah, I think Wild Bill Hickok was a short guy.
Yeah?
And was small. And no one ever believed he was Wild Bill Hickok when he came in. So,
sure.
I might be getting it wrong with another one, but watch out for little short guys.
Wild Bill Hickok or Wild Bill Pecos? Because there's those two guys.
Is there really a Wild Bill Pecos?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
I don't know. Okay.
Pretty sure.
I think it's Hickok, though. Oh, I know it's not Pecos because I didn't know.
I think, but...
So, this guy named Hammer Hogan. Oh, God. What a great name.
Well, they gotta have names like that.
Yeah. He comes in. He wants Rawhide Kid's table because it's his favorite place to sit. Which is probably a lie.
Yeah, but he's also bragging like I, beat the Rawhide Kid or whatever, and then doesn't realize he's actually talking to a Rawhide.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Rawhide gives him what for?
Yep. Shoots the guns out of his hands, and then kicks his butt.
Yeah.
And then he goes and shoots the chandelier with the candles. Shoots the candles out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a dozen candles, so he is shot 14 times. So he has a 7-shot revolver. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, is it a dozen candles?
Yeah, he says so.
You kind of
Rawhide Kid wouldn't lie.
Well, I don't know. No. I realize the math doesn't really work out, but
yeah.
But that'll happen a lot in movies and things. So
yeah, Kirby faces here. That's kind of cool.
People always hit with those looking aghast or surprised. Those are great.
Yeah, that's really well done.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they make up more stories about him. Right. So they see Rawhide Kid, and he really has a soft voice.
Yeah.
As they say, and he's kind of short. He's not really tall at all. I think he's 5'4" or something like that.
Yeah, he's not a big guy.
But now he had fists the size of sledgehammers. His voice is more like a growl, like a caged lion.
Which is funny, and I think it's kind of like it feeds into that whole mystique of American folklore, and it's good.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah. So
right, Midnight Raiders.
That's right, from Rawhide Kid number 18, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Ross Andrew, and inked by Mike Esposito.
Not bad. everyone has 5 o'clock shadows, which is what they would have. They wouldn't be shaving and
right. But you see, especially the dirtbag guys who are rustlers or whatever, always have the 5 o'clock. Honest folks, they keep their mustache, but they shave every day. So.
Yeah. So the Midnight Raiders, they go in and sagebrush Texas, and later on they become the Midnight Ramblers. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, I don't have much to work with, folks.
It's okay.
So there's this old sheriff. He's old as the hills, and they try to beat him up and all that, and it doesn't work. He puts him in jail. Someone else tries to break him out. He kicks their butt too.
Yeah,
and
a lot of shit.
And we find out it's Wild Bill Hickok.
Yeah, apparently, when he was retired as a sheriff in some little town.
Yeah. And
these rustlers or these villains, whatever, they come through thinking they're going to mess with him. And he still had it. Still a fast gun. And yeah. So that's a fun story.
Yeah, it was. Not bad. Not bad at all.
So let's move on to our next book. It's Rawhide Kid Number 93. And I like this. At this point, the book gets extra sized, just like last issue. And the lead story will be a new feature. And then the rest are like reprints of, at that time, probably harder to find material.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good bargain. I mean, I wouldn't expect to have 3 brand new stories, although that'd be cool. But stories that weren't just a reprint from last year or something.
Right. But this is before comic book stores are a thing really so much. And getting old issues of comics is kind of harder. So if you can, you get a new story, and then the company can reuse old material, everybody wins. Because you get a nice big comic book and, everything. So
here comes Rawhide Kid, bringing trouble wherever he goes.
Or trouble follows him wherever he goes. But so the lead story is Mountain Pursuit, and it's written and drawn by Larry Lieber and inked by Sid Shores.
Okay, there's a shootout going on. This lawman is shooting another guy who gets, I think he doesn't get hit yet, but the other guy has a pretty girl with him. And it looks like a hairdo 1971 instead of 1871.
Well.
But well. They knocked down some rocks. And that almost happened to me in Oklahoma.
Really?
Mountain climbing. I stayed back because I was way out of shape. And I don't know if they've been drinking or not, probably. So they hey, let's roll down this boulder. And the boulder hit where I was going to walk to if I hadn't stopped. So I had rocks in my pocket. So.
Jeez. When was this?
When I was in the Army.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You were stationed in Oklahoma?
Yeah. Garden State. I don't know what it's stated. Oklahoma's okay.
Okay.
Fort Sill and Lawton is not. But,
okay.
Yeah.
So there's a rock slide.
And then
Rawhide.
The guys run. Two good guys run, and the sheriff or some what kind of lawman is he?
Maybe a marshal.
He's a U.S. marshal.
Usually they are marshals.
Yeah. So. Rawhide fixes them up, and then they go after them.
The bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so Rawhide Kid does surgery, and then he just catches up with the other two. And how long does surgery take? 2 minutes? I mean, it's gonna take an hour.
We don't know. Do we specifically know the extent of the injuries that the marshal sustained?
He got shot. That's bad.
Okay. Well, maybe.
I mean, just to put. It takes me 10 minutes to put a Band-Aid on my finger. So,
I don't know. But maybe I don't know. Maybe it was just a slug in his arm, and he dug it out. I realize it's preposterous.
No.
Okay.
And so, give up.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Here's the next stupid thing. Or preposterous, maybe is a word for it. He shoots a cinch strap on the horse.
Rawhide does.
Yeah, on the bad guy.
Yeah.
If you shoot the cinch strap It's right next. It's like shooting my belt. It's going to hit me too.
Yeah, he shoots this thing to make the saddle come off and the guy fall off the horse. Yeah, you would be shooting the horse. Yeah. Nobody's that good a shot.
It's almost astronomical, the odds.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's like shooting a bullet into the barrel of somebody else's gun.
Okay, I'm not sure that's happened. Someone has shot into the scope of another guy's gun. And
like in a comic we read, or
no, in real life.
Oh,
let's see, the White Feather, Carlos Haycock in Vietnam. Someone's shooting at him, and he shot first.
Well, okay. So Rawhide catches up with these owl hoots and kicks their butts. One guy tries to hit him with a rock, which is not cool.
Yeah. So you gotta. And a guy and a girl, are the bad guys. Mm-hmm. And what are they have another gang, and the gang ambushes them.
So the marshal was tailing these guys, and then they met up with their allies. Okay.
And there's this ghost town where the money's hidden.
Ah.
Oh. So they find this other guy, and then he helps out, and then he says, "Oh well," and he's bribed by the bad guys. Mm-hmm. So, Rawhide Kid. Here's a third preposterous thing that happens in this comic. Just 1/3 of the story, 1/3 of the comic, one story. His horse unties him.
Oh yeah, he's captured by the bad guys and tied up. His horse bites through and he does this more than once.
I know, it amuses me every time.
But it's so dumb, like that would never happen.
Yeah, I guess in a circus, but you have to train the horse for.
But look,
that's it.
Here's the thing: in a superhero comic, I can believe crazy things happening because superpowers aren't real. But in a Western, we're working on like a pretty reality-based thing. Mm-hmm. So stuff like this gets in my craw.
Yeah.
I'm like, your horse does not untie you unless it's Comet, the super horse.
Right. Yeah.
Who was really a person. Remember, he was like a centaur or something weird like that.
He had thought.
Yeah.
He had sentient thought, and
Yeah, because he wasn't really a horse. He was a guy.
Seems smarter than Crypto, actually.
Well, yeah, because he was...
me like bone.
Well, because Crypto was always a dog.
Yeah.
Comet was really a person in a horse's body. So, yeah. Anyway. What's going on with Rawhide? So he gets free in the stupidest way ever.
Yeah.
But then he goes and catches up with the bad guys. He swings down from the roof and kicks this guy right in the face. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Man, yeah. Yeah. And he shoots guns out of people's hands.
Which is also dumb, but cool.
Yeah. Oh, and the girl kind of falls for him and warns him that someone's going to shoot. This is a cliche or a trope, and God, it happens all the time.
Yeah. How does our story end?
Well, he wins, and the girl's got to go to jail.
Oh, that's right, because she was aiding and abetting a felon. Mm-hmm. But she loved that guy, that's right.
Man, she can't go to jail. She's cute.
Right. Man, we didn't set up this story very well. That's okay.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Maybe.
It's sort of...
It's okay. Some of the certain details we need to know about first and then go.
Oh, I mentioned that there was a girl.
Well, I know, but
what? Our audience doesn't care. Oh, if they do, tell us. Should we go into more detail? I don't know.
No, I'm just saying certain details should come first. We talk about it, but I'm like, oh wait, yeah. So anyway, it's fine though. So the backup story, the first of two backup stories to say, is Blood is Thicker from Rawhide Kid Number 61, and it was written by Gary Friedrich with art by Tom Sutton.
Yeah. Cool splash page.
Yeah.
You can barely tell that this guy. I thought, man, this guy's got a misshapen face, but his beard is flesh colored, or whatever they call.
Right. I can see what you're saying. There's a printing error. His facial hair is all done in the flesh tone.
I thought, man, this is gonna be cool. He's gonna
a weird disfigured guy. No, I didn't even spot that. But these things occur.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And see, and they don't always credit the colorist, especially at this point.
I bet they do. Don't put my name on it.
Yeah, but yet they credit letterer, like Artie Simic.
Is that a big deal, or am I missing something? Is this?
It's important, but I don't know why. I think it's less important than the colorist.
Yeah.
Because there's more involved in that. You just say the letterer just like, hey, let's write these words in a style that is clear to read.
Right.
And
but you're beyond me.
Putting emphasis on certain words.
I admire letters and people who do calligraphy. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't seem like adding color is probably more difficult, and drawing, especially in writing, is far more difficult.
Yeah.
So, maybe there's something we're missing. I don't know.
Well,
Making sure it fits into the... Are the balloons after or before?
What do you mean?
All right. We have a panel. One guy's talking. There's a balloon.
Yeah.
All right. Is a balloon put there and they got to fill it? Or do they write it and then they put the balloon in?
Well, if you're writing it Marvel style, and I'm using air quotes, they just come up with the plot first, and then the artist, draws out the story, and then the dialogue and captions are added in later, written later even.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're writing full script, which is what DC and most others in the industry worked with, all of that is written out first. Mm-hmm. And they may even also have notes of, hey, what I want in this panel or whatever, mm-hmm. or not, depending mm-hmm. on, the artist or whatever, or...
Yeah. This is wonderfully drawn.
Yeah,
the picture of the sheriff and...
Yeah.
He's...
No, Tom Sutton was great. He did a lot of... he didn't do a whole ton of stuff for Marvel and DC. I think he did Star Trek at DC in the 80s. But he's primarily known for a lot of work he did for Charlton and Warren, doing horror stories.
Mm-hmm.
That's what most people remember Tom Sutton for.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But he's not bad on a Western.
Mm-hmm. It is beautifully drawn. Nice shadowing. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And he would be doing his own, inking his own pencils in here, so that's definitely Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so Cal Clemens' brother was shot by the marshal, a small Kansas town.
Uh-huh. Oh, and he wants revenge.
Right. So
that's right.
He said, "Oh, you shot my brother," and the marshal said, "Oh, well, maybe you want to shoot mine." So all right, bring on your brother. So they're waiting for his brother. Man, I cannot tell you how wonderfully this is. The shadows effect is so great. It looks almost like a horror story.
Yeah, well, and that was Sutton's strong suit, and I like that this applied to a Western, and this is why I always feel it's better for a penciler for someone to ink their own pencils. Mm-hmm. A lot of most of the time that's just not the case because they do things very assembly line and to get things going faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they have this showdown, and where's your brother at? And his brother just shoots the crap out of everything with his butt-line pistol, which is a real pistol. What? I forgot to look up if that might be a TV thing that Wyatt Earp had. A butt-line means it's just a classic Colt 6 shooter with a very long barrel.
Oh, okay.
Also used by Charles Manson.
Yeah. Well, and the longer the barrel, the more accurate the shot, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
to a point.
Yeah, but it makes it heavier and less handy.
Well, of course. Mm-hmm. There's always advantages and disadvantages to everything, but
exactly.
Yeah.
But so it's Wyatt Earp, and Wyatt Earp saves the day. Oh,
that's cool. Hey, we got a couple.
Bad old story, but it's beautifully drawn.
Yeah, and I like how these historical figures are woven into these fictional Western pieces. Mm-hmm. I like that because we saw that earlier today with the Wild Bill. So the last story in this issue is Shotgun to Deadwood. It's reprinted from Rawhide Kid Number 61, written by Gary Friedrich, penciled by Dick Ayers, and inked by the always divisive Vince Colletta. People are so opinionated about Colletta as an inker.
This looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Interesting. We're looking down upon a stagecoach with arrows in it. The Indians are chasing. Pretty dramatic.
Yeah. No, I like this story. This was cool.
Yeah.
Rawhide shows up.
I don't know how many stagecoaches were robbed by attack by Indians. It may have been the first time was in 1939 in the movie Stagecoach. I know, which is a great movie, which is it's the first of the adult westerns as grown-ups.
Right. It's not a kiddie matinee picture. This is a heavier, dramatic story.
Yeah, with adult themes. I'm using the old term for adult, not the new term for.
Right. I know you didn't mean pornography.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and it's a great word too. I hate saying grown up.
Well, I think you can use adult, and then generally people know you're not talking about blue movies. So.
Okay, but it's similar to Stagecoach. We have some people riding in a stagecoach. It looks like we have a pretty brown-haired girl, one of our first, and her father is a minister.
Yeah.
Apparently not Catholic. So Rawhide Kid's with them, and of course that means there's trouble. So the stagecoach driver gets shot, so he gets up. Shotgun, meaning you're riding shotgun. That's where the term "I got shotgun" when you go into the pizza store comes from stagecoaches.
Right.
Because you're supposed to carry a shotgun.
Right. And to answer your question about the girl's father, you can be a priest or with the collar or a minister as a Lutheran or an Episcopalian, and there's a few other ones, and they can marry. I know.
I know about Protestants. I've heard of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ooh, a Tammy Wynette ad. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
And she looks young. All right, so the Indians unexpectedly
Vamoose.
So they stop, and the girl puts her goo eyes on Rawhide, and then another girl comes out, and she was a driver.
And the driver is Calamity Jane.
Yeah, she's a redhead, so. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what is she? So she wants him to ride shotgun. Oh, I love this. She starts talking to Rawhide Kid, and the other girl says, "Why that hussy? I saw Johnny first."
Oh, brother. Oh, yeah, because Rawhide is giving, I think, a fake name, or I'm not sure if it's his real name, but Johnny
Clay. That is interesting, yeah.
Yeah. That might be his real name.
Although they actually think that they're, I think the preacher man recognizes them.
Oh, yeah? Well, if he's been to the post office, he probably saw wanted posters.
Yeah. All right, so this guy named Black Jack comes and talks to the Indians and tells them to attack it, and he's going to pay them a lot of money.
Yeah.
So the stagecoach is riding to its doom, into a trap. And they get captured, and really, really white Indians beat the crap out of a Rawhide Kid. And they knock him out.
Yeah.
Why not scalp and kill him? I don't know. Oh, it'd be the end of the
story. That's why.
As interesting little crying tears coming from
the preacher's daughter.
Yeah.
What's she crying about?
About being captured by savages.
Oh.
So Rawhide Kid wakes up, finds a horse, and chases after them, and meets Bill, her boyfriend, and it's Wild Bill Hickok.
Oh, yeah.
He's got long yellow hair.
Yeah. He looks more like Custer in this, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Clay is the real name of Rawhide Kid. I looked it up.
Oh, good. All right, so Black Jack.
Well, sort of. Johnny Clay's the alias he uses. It's really Johnny Bart. Or whatever.
Okay. Oh.
Sorry.
So the Indians bring bring the girls in. Well, Blackjack had been rode out of Deadwood by Wild Bill Hickok, so he wants revenge. So he hired these to bring Calamity Jane so he could hold them for ransom.
Yeah.
The Indians want their pay now. And Blackjack said no, and he slaps him around. Yeah, sort of. Wild Bill Hickok and Rawhide Kid, they find them, and they're about to spring a trap on him, and then Calamity Jane has entitled herself and beat the crap out of Blackjack.
Yay!
And but the Indian said, well, I ain't got my pay yet, so he holds her. Man, what a ruffian cad.
Yeah.
Blackjack is.
Yep.
So he pulls a gun. Oh, maybe he's got an overbite, too.
Yeah, it gets shot out of his hand.
He looks familiar in the profile. Interesting.
Well, it could have been based on a photograph. Sometimes a lot of people had photo morgues that they worked from, so...
Yeah. But he pulls a gun on Calamity Jane and gets a bullet shot out of him, out of his hand, as usual. The Indian attacks Calamity Jane, so Wild puts her in front of him, between him and Wild Bill. But Rawhide Kid goes aside and hits him with his gun. Yeah, lots of fisticuffs. Well, all these people are armed, but there's a lot of fisticuffs.
Well, because that's fun.
Yeah, and once the person's dead, then he's no longer a problem, and then it's
Again, we want to fill 8 pages or however many the story is. So
yeah, not a bad fight.
That's pretty fun. And so was it Blackjack? Whatever, he gets goes to jail or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay.
And Wild Bill Hickok, the preacher's daughter professes her love for him, and he runs off. So.
Yep.
All right, that's how they roll back in the West.
Yeah. Those are a lot more fun to read than talk about, which sometimes is the way. Some comics are just more fun when you're reading them, and then you try and talk about it later. I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh well. Something is lost in translation from time to time.
Yeah. One of the things he's talking, but I'm not an owl hoot. And he's talking to Calamity Jane. And owl hoot must be the worst thing you can call somebody. Every single magazine mentions owl hoot.
Right? And it doesn't matter if it's Marvel or whoever that was putting the Western out. Owl hoot is this term. Yeah. And it seems like a silly word to throw around.
I mean, it sounds like a term of endearment. You old owl hoot, you.
Yeah.
Can be a beer.
Yeah.
Like it's not like.
Well, there was that Superman story we were reading last week with the Superman of the future and the future version of Lois, who doesn't like Superman.
Right.
Called him that Superman, that piffle diffle. I'm like, man, that's what owl hoot sounds like to me. It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
there's bushwhacker. Of course, we can't use profanity.
Well, right.
And I don't want them to. But there's bushwhacker, claim jumper. Oh no, that's a restaurant chain. Isn't that absurd? The name of what? Yeah, I even call my restaurant Mass Murderer or something.
Well, right. Well, it's like whenever you see someone's motorhome, it's like the intruder. Like I'm waiting for like the Nissan home invasion. Yeah. Like
some names.
The Ford massacre. They always have a name like that. So anyway, it's silly. But let's talk about our next book, Flash. He'll save every one of us. So
I hated that. 2 movies I saw in the big screen I hated. Flash Gordon and Dune, which I now love because they're so fun. They're good, bad movies.
I don't even think Dune is a bad movie. I think it's amazing.
It is. But good, bad movies, they got to believe in what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just, people are overacting, and it's just glorious.
And Flash has one of the greatest overactors ever in Brian Blessed.
Yes.
He is awesome. He's the king of like those flying falcon people or whatever. Yeah.
Die.
Yeah, he just makes that face. He's like always having a good time, like being intense. So
I mean, he has a good time. The audience has a good time.
Oh yeah. Ryan Blessed's been on
Max
Doctor.
von Sydow, and he's looking at a picture of Hitler and says, he looks interesting. What a great, perfectly done.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh.
So this is a Gold Key comic, and it's Flash Gordon #1, but they did a bunch. It's one of a bunch of one-shots of Flash that they did.
Mm-hmm.
And the story in this is called The Eyes of Opto. And the art is by Paul Norris, who is his biggest claim to fame is he created or co-created Aquaman with Mort Weisinger.
Interesting.
And he also did a long-running syndicated strip, Brick Bradford.
The helmets look aquish. Aquamanish or something.
Well, this is a guy who
actually looks like the Black Manta. His helmet, kind of.
Yeah. Before we get way into this, I'll just say, yeah, Paul Norris. It's funny he's doing Flash Gordon because his character Brick Bradford that he did a syndicated strip of.
Sounds familiar.
It's another one of those. It's totally interchangeable with Flash or Buck Rogers. It's one of those characters, or Rocky Jones, that kind of thing. And Paul Norris did just the first 10 Aquaman stories, but then found out he had to leave comics because there was something in his contract with the syndicate, it could be a King Features or whoever it was, that said you cannot also be doing comic book work. So he had to stop, and Mort Weisinger was very unhappy. But
what was he doing?
He was doing comic books.
He couldn't do other comic books. Right?
No. He was doing the Brick Bradford syndicated strip for newspapers.
Oh, okay.
And he had an item in a clause in his contract that says you're going to work for the syndicate, or you can't do both. So
he should have used a nom de plume.
All right, but I think the syndicate money was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could be doing a syndicated strip, it's like you've made
that's
it.
Still true.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It shows how bad they are now.
Well, and it's so hard to get into the syndicates now, but things changed. I mean, it's like there's no Milton Cannon for Hal Foster or
Bill Walston.
Yeah, but I mean the guys who did the adventure strip, and it's like that's where comic books really sprang from. It's like these, the Sunday paper, you had a whole page, a big page of Flash or Tarzan or Prince Valiant.
Thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and things have changed. So as they do.
That's the 10 age of comic strips. I think we lived in the Silver Age with Calvin and Hobbes and Far Side. Yeah. And now it's just
because if you look at comics as a medium, whether it's comic books or comic strips, the exciting quality stuff that used to exist in comic strips, it's just all in comic books now. It'd be nice to have those full-page adventure strips every week in the newspaper, and then you could, because it's so cool to people used to have albums of Flash Gordon or Prince Valiant. Those come out in a nice hardcover. Those were some of the earliest trade paperback kind of things. So, but anyway, things change.
Yep.
Let's talk about the story, The Eyes of Opto.
Okay. Flash finds himself on another planet.
Of course.
The planet Opto. And so he's talking to Dale Gordon, right?
Dale Arden.
Dale Arden. Dale Gordon is the guy on the Lucy show. Excuse me. Lucy. Oh my God, or something like that.
Yeah, but Flash and Dale are not married, so.
Yeah, but they're an item, right?
Yeah. But anyway, Flash and Dale land on this planet Opto.
And was it Flash or Dale said, I see something. Dale says, what a horrible sight. And the inhabitants over here say, they can see. That is against ape law or whatever.
Yeah. Everyone on the planet Opto, who isn't an outlaw or whatever, wears these masks that cover their eyes because seeing stuff is not okay, I guess. And but all their other senses are enhanced, so they can move about freely and everything.
They have radar.
I guess, like Daredevil. Yeah, like Daredevil. A planet of daredevils.
Oh, that would be something.
Yeah.
These masks look like, they really do look like the Manta, Black Manta masks.
Well, you know what they look like? They look like the masks that people who are into falconry, that they put on the bird. That's what they look like. I just realized that.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so they're put in jail, and there's a chick named Chi, and she's got a bad attitude. She thinks they're spies. So she fights against Dale, and Dale is handcuffed. Yeah. And she still beats the crap out of him. And she's not looking for a fight. Dale isn't, but Chi is.
Right.
So.
Now Chi is part of the rebels, of people who they have sight, and they, whatever, they're trying to rebel against the overlord of blindness or whatever.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. Oh. So they're going to get a fair trial, and it had scare quotes around it. Fair trial.
Right.
The trial is to be eaten by tigers. If you live, you're innocent. Oh. Man, we ought to use that now. So that'd be great. At least it'd be entertaining. Not really, no.
Okay.
It's kind of bland.
This whole comic?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, the monsters are cool.
Yeah, these these horned tigers. And Flash, they didn't even check to see he didn't have his atomic gun. They
checked him, but didn't check Dale. Dale is wearing a miniskirt. Where is she going to hide it?
We will save our guesses for off air.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, she gives Flash his atomic ray gun, and he shoots these tigers, and they escape.
Here's an interesting facet of the story. They have a bunch of moons.
Yeah.
And so that messes up the tides, which is kind of interesting. So.
Well, the tides are really intense.
Yeah, and they're unpredictable.
Right.
And so they strip down a little bit. Although stripping down means taking off their boots.
Right.
Because if they strip down anymore, they'll be naked. And this is a family show.
Right.
So Chi really is pretty cool. She kicks the butt out of a fisherman and steals his boat. And then she runs off.
Right, leaving Flash and Dale.
Yeah.
But then they catch up with her.
And then she tries to. Flash is holding on. Oh, there's a stupid thing that sends automatic harpoon cables out, and which is stupid.
Right.
Flash saves Dale, and then she chops the cable, and so he can fall to his death in the water, and he saves himself because he's Flash. One of us.
We need to do that at least 3 or 4 more times. Okay, so.
So she pulls a gun on him, and this Chi is, man, we're only halfway through the troubles with Chi.
Yeah, and she just does not believe that Flash is on the side of the Angels.
So she tries to shoot at him, but she shoots the control board of the weird boat. And then crashes. And here comes these guys, the bad guys, on skis. Yay!
Yeah.
Okay. So she gets a mask on.
Oh, she does? Yeah.
And she goes out and says, "Here is Flash," and she belts Flash on the back of the head.
Yeah.
And then shoots, and then while the bad guys are looking at Flash, she shoots him. So it's kind of cool. And then she gets into another fight with Dale. And then Dale pulls a gun on her. So they take her to her brother, Vango?
I guess.
Vango.
And anyway, he's the leader of the rebellion or whatever. And to prove that they're good guys, Flash has to fight this big oaf who's the champion warrior of the rebellion.
That's a pretty cool fight.
Yeah.
And the really cool thing, Flash wins because he's faster.
Yeah.
And then what is it? Katonk
Yeah.
He's knocked out, and he gets up, and he takes off his belt, and he sneaks up behind Flash. And then Flash turns around and says, "Have this belt because you are the
you're the champion now."
Champion. And Flash says, "No thanks, you're the best on this planet."
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, he's a real hero, and there's noble, and he allows that guy to save face and dignity, and I like that.
And Katonk was pretty cool about that. So.
Yeah, because he wasn't really a bad guy. So.
Yeah, and Bango, he never believed that he believed Flash was a good guy all this time. He just wanted to see how he fought.
Right. But she was the one that needed the convincing, not him. So
we get this other character, Petito. He's a little guy.
Yeah.
Oh, and Katonk is helping him out. Is waking him up. Hey, let's go fight. So they get out these ugly ships.
Are they like rocket cars?
I don't know.
Basically.
They look like flying irons. They do. They're boring.
Okay.
So they fight.
Who are they fighting? The people who are
the Optics. The Optic is the guy who's in charge of. He's the bad guy.
And he's the leader of the blind people who rule the world. So.
Yeah, and Katonk is wearing a hat like a Cossack.
Yeah.
Listen. So they're shooting up everybody. Fighting this, fighting that. Then they're going after the atomic atom cannon.
Of course.
There's an atomic cannon for real.
Sure.
I have seen it.
Okay.
I made that model when I was a kid. But it's shot an atomic shell. And this does too. So they sneak up on the atom cannon and they mess with the shells and they'll blow one up. Flash is fighting somewhere else. He's fighting this guy underwater. And he brings the guy up and saves him. So, if you're fighting, for me, if I was just fighting somebody one-on-one, I'd bring him up. But if I was fighting a war, hey, I need to go.
Well, right. Well, and here's the thing: if it's a life or death situation, I probably wouldn't save the guy that I'm fighting.
Yeah.
I just get him off me and get out of there.
Right.
But it's different.
Okay, so we have the story why Optic turned. The sun went out, and the world got black and cold. And then a new sun appeared, and people lost their vision. So Optic kept his vision, and so he enslaved everybody else by taking their vision. That might be the stupidest thing I've ever read, and I've read L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, well, it's pretty weird. Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but whatever.
So
I love at the end we get the basically the motivation for the villain. So Doctor is it Zarko?
Yeah,
Zarkov. Dr. Zarkov, who was part of Flash and Dale's kind of trio.
Yeah, he comes and he helps them. They defeat Optic. They take over. Zarkov helps with the eyesight, and they cure everybody.
Yay!
His brother, and so we find out then Bango and Optic are brothers. So they fight, and Optic stabs his brother in the back as he walks away, and I guess I don't know what happens to him. Oh.
We didn't kill Vango. Vango just was hurt, and then Optic was killed or something.
I'm not sure what happened to Vango.
Yeah, see, there he is. He's fine.
Yeah.
They fixed him up. So, and then Flash and Dale and Zarkov leave.
Yeah.
For another adventure.
She figures out everything's okay. Let's start with them.
Yeah.
And gives them a big kiss.
Yeah.
And Dale hates it.
Of course. So.
What?
So, on that.
Yeah. Too bad. I was looking forward to it. I was hoping it was going to be more cool.
Yeah, and it was just kind of bland.
Yeah. If it was better drawn, it would have been okay.
Yeah.
The plot was alright, but it's stupid. But I don't mind that if it's well drawn. It's kind of boringly drawn.
Yeah, and Paul Norris, he's not bad, but he's not like the greatest either. He's kind of middle of the road. So, so anyway, anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, I was a nasty little minx, said she. But aren't they all?
Yeah. We want to remind our listeners that they can join our our Facebook discussion group. It's Comic Reflections Podcast Discussion Group. That's easy enough to remember. It's kind of long. And you can talk to Jeff or I about current or past episodes on there.
Be nice. Because we're not.
Oh,
I try to be. But it gets out.
Yeah.